Hey guys, we're going to do a quick how-to video on how to make a leather sheath. This is what the sheath looks like when I'm all done. I'm making it for a shovel hatchet, but you can make it for anything really. Cell phone, laptop, knife, computer, anything you really want to have a sleeve for. So let's go on to step one. So first thing you want to do is get some paper big enough to cover your object, whatever it is that you're making the sheath for. So then you want to staple or tape two pieces of paper together to make a pocket sleeve for your item to go into. That way you can mold the paper to your item.
Story, breathing life into my bones. Spirit, lift me from this wasteland.
Once you mold your paper to your object, you want to trace an outline of your object around the paper on both sides. Once you have your outline, you can separate the two pieces of paper again and get your leather. I'm using a really thin, pliable, flexible leather. It's kind of a lower quality, lower grade leather, but you can choose whatever leather you want. Thicker ones out there will be more durable. So once you get your leather, then you want to, obviously, you will tape down your sheet of paper with the outline on it to the leather, and then you will cut out your outline so that you can have the shape of the leather.
Chose to carry all my shame, rendered worthy in the shadow.
So once you're done cutting out the outline, cutting out the leather, then you clean up the edges a little bit and do it for the other side as well, for the other sheet of paper that you have with the outline. And you'll have two pieces. If you really want your leather to be symmetrical, you can fold it in half and then try and match up the edges and trim off any of the excess that is overlapping. That way your one sheet of leather will be really symmetrical when you fold it in half. That way you have a nice even piece of leather. Then when you're done, you can trim up the edges again and you can lay the piece of leather on your object and you'll see that it's nice and symmetrical and even around all the edges. So once you have your front and back pieces of leather cut out, you can now clamp them together and then you can line them up as best as you can, and then you're going to want to trim off any excess leather. That way when you're done, these things will line up almost exactly and they'll be nice and even and symmetrical, and that way when you go to sew them together, stitch them together, it'll be really even. Once you have your two pieces of leather cut out exactly almost the same as each other, you can now clamp them on the sides, allowing you to slide your object into it as kind of a test run for whether or not this is going to fit nicely. You're going to need room on the sides so that you can stitch the two pieces of leather together and still have room to slide your object in. So a nice quick trick for rounding off the edges of your leather are using something round, such as a quarter or dime or nickel. Anything round you can use as a straight edge or a rounded edge, giving you the ability to cut around your corners, and which would make them round, which makes it a little more clean looking. Once you have your two pieces of leather cut out exactly the way you want, now you want to line them up and tape them together as close as you can so you can start making your marks for every time you do a hole punch. The hole punches will be for when you start stitching these together.
Heaven's story, breathing life into my bones.
Once you have them taped, you can use a ruler to mark off everywhere you're going to want to make a hole punch. So I measure off every 1/4 inch to where I make my punches. Then you want to use a leather punch. You can get them at a hobby store or craft store real cheap, and you just punch out with a hammer and a punch, and you're going to punch out everywhere you make one of those marks. And this will allow you to stitch your leather stitching through each of those holes. You can look up different stitching techniques, but all you do once you have your holes punched, you can now stitch the 2 pieces of leather together and then slide it on your object.
Awake my soul to the hope you hold. Your grace is all I need.
So this sleeve will work nice and it'll cover your object. But we're going to go ahead and make a strap for this. That way it doesn't slide off of my shovel. And I'm going to do it kind of cheaply, not very effectively, but we're going to do a cheap version of a strap. So for my strap, I'm going to do paracord, and I have marked off 3 marks here. I'm only using 2 of them. I marked off a center mark, and then I made 2 marks off of that center mark to do a wide hole punch. This is a big hole punch so that I can fit paracord through it.
Fury written in my Savior's scars.
So I'm going to take a secondary leather here to match the same color stitching. So I have black stitching, and then I'm going to use this black leather to make a little accent to kind of give it a little finished look. So now I ran a single strand of paracord through both sides of my holes and then tied some knots at the end. A better way to make this strap would be obviously to make a leather strap with a snap or a buckle of some kind. But I don't have any of those buckles or snaps, so I just use some paracord and then I cinch it down, as you can see, so that it holds my shovel into the sheath and it doesn't slide out. So that's it, guys. That's my leather sheath for my shovel hatchet. Again, you can make this sheath for a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet or a knife, anything you want, really. Really easy to make. You can go to your nearby craft store or hobby store to make it. Thanks for watching.